nasa 20,000 na ang confirmed.
Kailangan ng PPE.
Isa sa ilalim na ang Metro Manila sa...
Wala na. Wala munang mga food court at fiesta. Meron namang lutong bahay. Wala munang window shopping. Meron namang free shipping. Wala munang happy hour. Pero may isang oras pa. Tulog pa tayo. Wala muna yung aircon at only coffee sa office. Pero andyan yung dream office mate natin. Biruin mo, wala munang quiz night, band night, samgyup night, pati videoke night. Pero meron ng time sa family night. Wala na munang pasyalan, wala na munang bakasyunan. Okay lang siguro mawala lahat ng yon. Huwag lang ito. Kasi may mga bagay na walang kapalit. May mas mahalaga ba dito? Wala. Rediscover what matters. Rediscover home.
Honorable Ramon Jacinto, DICT Undersecretary, Mr. Ray Alimorong, Lazada Philippines CEO, Mr. Louis Casaneda, Fortinet Philippines Country Manager, my co-host Ben Fritz and other colleagues of the Manila Times. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome. The disruption spawned by the coronavirus pandemic can be felt in just about every aspect of daily life. People are working from home, many of them indefinitely. Schools are scrambling to try out new modalities of learning to allow learners to take classes from home, even as they struggle with slow internet connectivity. And these are just some examples. The new normal is already reality, even for the Manila Times, which had been organizing various business fora that now have been pushed out from hotel rooms into the virtual world, just like this one today. Indeed, the health crisis has turned the proverbial national spotlight on the country's deficiencies in our telecommunications and information technology industries. And in fairness to the private sector, it seems that the telcos are doing their best to improve, especially now that President Duterte had called them out in his recent State of the Nation address. But even before that, I suspect they have already been feeling market pressure to deliver better services. On a more positive note, many have said that the pandemic is accelerating the digitization of our economy, along with others in the world. By simple observation, it seems that more people are doing more commerce online. Many households have even shifted to virtual stores that are complemented by delivery services to do much of their routine, such as going to the market for food and supplies. These changes remind us that disruption is not without positive outcomes. Perhaps like you, we hope that all the changes will bring about a net positive gain when the time and situation allow for a full accounting of the pandemic's total impact. Of course, it would be better to hear some assessment now rather than later. And that is why we have organized this forum to hear from the people in the know, not only to hear from people in the know the present lay of the land. We hope to hear from them the latest updates on the work to improve our communication and information technology and infrastructure, as well as to discover opportunities in the so-called new normal. So I will conclude now to give way to those experts. Before I do, allow me to acknowledge those who have made this forum possible today. Thank you to our co-presenters, Fortinet, InfiniVan, and PLDT Smart. We also wish to express our appreciation to our partners, SunTrust, PIAA, and our media partner, the Manila Times TV. Thank you to all of those watching this forum today on our website, www.manilatimes.net, the Manila Times Facebook page, the Manila Times channels on Dailymotion and YouTube, and on our paper's other social media platforms. Those viewing this later may be happy to know that the stories about the speakers' presentations will be reported in our print edition of the Manila Times and in this digital edition, which is an exact replica of the whole paper that you can access on your mobile phones, desktops, and gadgets. Once again, and now let's get started with our keynote speaker. RJ Jacinto, Undersecretary of DICT, is largely known for his musical acumen, both as artist and entrepreneur. The Department of Information and Communication Technology Undersecretary for Operation Ramon RJ Jacinto first worked for the government during the term of President Fidel Ramos as Vice Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Flagship Programs and Projects for 3 years. Before he was appointed by President Rodrigo Duterte for his current position on May 26, he first served as Presidential Advisor on the Economic Affairs and Information Technology Communications since July 14, 2016. He earned his Bachelor's of Science major in Economics degree from the Ateneo de Manila University, graduating with honors, then took up law at the University of Santo Tomas. He established the rock and roll radio station DZRJ and the Raja Broadcasting Network, worked at his family's Iligan Integrated Steel Mills, put up UHF TV and home TV shopping, and pioneered in non-collateral consumer finance and American-style bargain stores like Price Club, which is now occupied by S&R Shopping. His RJ's Sunday Jam is touted as the model for Teleradio, where the program is simulcast on radio and television. Yusek Jacinto has also established iconic businesses like Bistro RJ, RJ Guitars, RJ Academy of Music, almost simultaneously while holding corporate posts as President and CEO of Philcomsat Holdings Corporation and Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Philippine Communications Satellite Corporation and Director and Chairman of the Philippine Overseas Telecommunications Corporation. His expertise in banking and finance have been proven when he founded and headed the 18-branch Ventures Bank, now owned by the AMA Group of Companies as AMA Bank, and as Vice President of Security Bank and Trust Company. Also a member of the World Presidents Organization, a global leadership organization of more than 8,000 business leaders who are graduates of Young Presidents Organizations founded in 1950 in Texas, USA. Yusek Jacinto's awards include the Presidential Citation for Exemplary Service as Presidential Advisor in 1998, Outstanding Entrepreneur and Citation for Contributions to the Philippine Music Industry, given by the California State Legislature in 2003, Lifetime Achievement Award from the Aleo Awards Foundation in 2004, and Lifetime Achievement Award at KBP's 26 Golden Dove Awards in 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, Yusek RJ Jacinto. Welcome, Yusek.
Thank you very much. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you. And thank you for inviting me. Shall I start?
Sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. I guess, especially now, it's so important to have connectivity. We have realized that a long time ago, but now it's reality. The importance of improving connectivity is so pervasive. For a 10% increase in broadband penetration, results in a 1.38 increase average in GDP, a 10% increase in coverage. And results for every 0.5 Mbps broadband connection in the home, it increases the household income by $800 per year in less developed countries. Internet improves access to education and information, equalizes opportunities, And as an example, the good performance of provincial law schools in bar examinations in the last 2 or 3 years is at least partly attributable to better access to case and review materials over the internet. So I'm not going to delve too much in that anymore. Everybody knows the importance. Now, what is our standing in internet penetration? Okay, 45% of Filipinos. But it's you that we're trying to help. We will not be here trying to help you if you had delivered to the public. So, but the news came out different. The news came out, there's so many objections to the Common Tower. It's a PR game, okay? And people cannot really understand it. It's very hard to understand the Common Tower. It's really, really simple. If you share towers, all you have to do is pay rent. You don't have to pay for the building and the maintenance. So if there are only 2 customers now, the third customer is coming. Okay, so these experienced tower companies must invest $3 to $5 billion, and they must not only build, they must maintain it. You see, people misunderstand it. They think the way it is now is Smart or Globe will get a contractor, build me a tower, and then I'll pay you after. They think a tower company should be the same. No, the tower company will pay for the tower, maintain it, and be independent of undue influence by any mobile operator, and will be fair and transparent, and will do a professional job in seeing to it that they complete the building and maintain it properly. Now, in other countries, they tried that, a free-for-all. Everything, like India. India tried. So many were building towers. In the end, India only has, I think, 6. And they have 1.2 billion people, 6 independent tower companies. So it got lost in the translation, the essence of the Common Tower. Now, we saved, it's a win-win, but the mobile companies will only realize it after. Right now, they don't want to lose that say or that the dominance of building only where they want to build, but it's really for their own good. Anyway, that takes care of the Common Tower policy. The way it is now is the investors, after the DICT released some interim guidelines, the investors wrote, the big investors, the real ones, they wrote and said, we have reservations of coming in based on the present guidelines. So we are working on that. We're working on improving the guidelines, and I will take it up with Secretary Honasan. Now, let's go to the connectivity. Facebook, you've heard of that. The Facebook fiber optic. Huh? Okay. Now, it was delayed for 1 year after the president assumed office. Finally, we got it signed. I was an advisor at that time. I was in the cabinet. But now, it's about to be turned over. So finally, we have this Facebook fiber optic that has landed. Now, the landing station is controlled now by BCDA, and it will be turned over to the ICT. So that has a slight delay, but it will be turned over soon. Now, what's the importance of this? The importance is we can source internet cheaper. Where do we source it now? We source it from Globe and Smart. Globe and Smart control about 8 landing stations. This is the first station that will be controlled by the government. Now, it has a capacity, the cable has a capacity of 2 terabytes. That's very big. I think the telcos, especially Smart, you know, whatever Manny Pangilinan has done, he has done well. I think it's just a matter of realigning their priorities, really, and a heart-to-heart talk. It's been 4 years since the president announced that he wanted to improve the service. Maybe a heart-to-heart talk with them and helping each other. And just like, for example, in building, Smart will go there and say, this is my building. Globe will go to the next building. That's my building. Condominium, that's my building. Smart cannot go in there. So we should put an end to exclusivity in building access, in subdivisions. Let the people choose what service they want, like in other countries. So it's a whole mindset. It's a whole mindset of service, not just profit. And with that, I end my talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Undersecretary Jacinto. That's very enlightening. Ben Kritz, would you like to ask the first question? Sir, could you expound a little bit on those satellite slots you mentioned? You said that there are 3 allocated to the Philippines, but we're only maintaining 1 now. You said we have lost 2 satellite slots.
We don't even have a satellite now.
Oh, okay.
But so we might lose that slot. So the other 2 slots, because we had not floated our own satellite, were already taken by some other countries. But you know, we can always hire other satellites and everything. But it's very important. You have your national airline. Let's have a national satellite.
Right. What's the progress on that? Is there any interest in the private sector to work with government, or is there an initiative from the government?
There is. Yeah, we just haven't focused on it, because just with these things now, like education, we're preoccupied with some other priorities, right? But that should have been addressed even in the previous administrations.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you, how is DICT doing now? I mean, with all this health crisis. I mean, I know from our office, a lot of people are working from home, and it's certainly much more difficult to do regular things now because people are working from different places. How much has the pandemic affected your operations there? What's the atmosphere like?
Well, we have a skeletal force, but lately some have tested positive. So right now, for about a week now, there's nobody there. But they're doing their best. They're doing their best within also the restricted budgets that they have. Yeah, they're doing their best. But I think we have to do better too.
Right. Sir, for all of those things that you said need to be done, I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe if you can educate us? Are these projects that you mentioned that are vital for our ICT infrastructure? Are they part of the Build, or is there an effort to maybe add them to the Build program in 2021? I mean, where are these things in the radar screen of the president and of Congress?
Well, lately the president has made it a priority.
Okay.
He mentioned it in the SONA.
Right, that's the necessity.
Because I think connectivity is now a human right.
Our next guest is Louis Castaneda, who is the country manager for Fortinet Philippines. He's the country head of the company, which is based in California, and the Philippines is part of the Southeast Asia and Hong Kong region for Fortinet. Hang on a second there. There we go. Castaneda's had 3 decades of experience in information and communication technology. Prior to taking the helm of Fortinet's business operations in the Philippines, he was country manager of Cisco Philippines, which I'm sure most people recognize as another big name in IT. He's also tackled senior sales and channel management roles in global technology companies such as Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, and Fujitsu. He's a licensed electronics engineer and has worked in systems and network engineering, ICT planning and design, pre-sales, and technical consulting since beginning his career after he earned a Bachelor of Science in Electronics and Communication Engineering from the Don Bosco Technical College in Mandaluyong and a Master of Business Administration from De La Salle. He also does a bit of writing about technological developments for business applications in particular, which of course is relevant to Fortinet's business, and you can find him on several online platforms. Would you please welcome Mr. Louis Castaneda?
Hey, thank you there, Ben, and thank you as well, Mr. Ang. Okay, my topic will be about transforming security with business digital transformation. You know, security really now is a very important topic. People are talking about it because, you know, there's really a lot of things going. And because of the move to a teleworking environment brought about by the pandemic, security has really become very, very important when it comes to priorities companies need to take a look at. So there are a lot of enterprise security trends that, you know, companies need to consider. And that includes some of these key trends I'm showing in the screen. Like, for example, in terms of consolidation of point product into a platform approach, you know, a lot of in the past you would see a number of point products, especially in security, that you know, addresses very key specific areas of an organization or a company. But now you would see platform solutions like in Fortinet, we have what we call our security fabric, that integrates a lot of the security solutions into a single platform. Also, you would hear a lot about what we call IT convergence, or the OT and IT convergence. So OT stands for operational technology, and a lot of times now companies are looking at integrating both their OT network with their IT network, because this will provide businesses deeper insights in how their company work, and they're able to make decisions quickly that is coming from information from the field. And this has actually transformed a lot of organizations into a better, providing them better insight. Then you have to also look at integration, or an integrated approach. As you would see, in the past, you would see a router and a firewall as separate solutions, but now you would see them being combined in a single platform, a single appliance in our case. And in our case, our next generation firewalls do have a solution called SD-WAN, or software-defined wide area network, as part of the integrated appliance. And maybe focus also on cloud. You know, a lot of companies are considering, hey, now I need to leverage cloud, you know, and then we could leverage the advantages of using these resources. And then they're looking at doing a hybrid environment where they're able to upload some of their key applications and resources into the cloud and connect them as well with the data center. So this is becoming more prevalent now in the industry. All right, so next. What are sample strategies in digital transformation? Let's start first with what we call the client-facing strategies. So a lot of companies now are using different marketing channels, such as social media, in promoting their products and services. Now, you would see people now using YouTube or even Facebook in marketing their products. They are also using instant messaging platforms like Viber, WhatsApp, and even Messenger in creating networks where they are able to apply their products. And then you have delivery channels such as online and mobile apps. You know, during the pandemic, you would see the rise on utilization of a lot of these mobile applications, and also a lot of these third-party payment services such as PayMaya, or even GCash. And virtual banking has become the norm nowadays. And in fact, several banks has offered what you call a system where you don't need to go to a branch to actually open an account, which is somewhat similar to what is being implemented now in the United States, using their what they call their mobile law, And then you have what you call also the emerging enterprise technologies, such as cloud services, mobile apps, bring your own devices, and mobile devices. Actually, this has been around for quite a while, but because again of the pandemic, you would see a lot more people looking at these services as a key enabler for their businesses. And then you will have your IoT, or Internet of Things, where you have building management systems, even your gaming platforms, and a lot of mobile devices being used as an extension of edge devices that companies are able to use. And also AI and machine learning has been being used intensively now in a lot of applications and a lot of platforms to enabling companies to make better decision making. What are the challenges for remote working, and some of the key considerations that we must look when we are proceeding remote working at scale? Because now remote working has to encompass 100% of the workers. Not before, it's like 20-30% of them are working remotely. But now you have to consider 100% of your employees being able to access this remotely. So some considerations would be endpoint protection. Obviously, help desk is no longer nearby, because before, when you're working in your corporate premises, help desk is there. But now it's not. So that's one of the consideration. Another one is security posture is now being challenged, because why? When you're out of your corporate network, a lot of the things that help desk is able to do, like patching your laptops, can be done. But now, since you're in a remote, it still can be done, but not as I would say as stringent as if you're in a corporate network. And then you have also what we call the PUAs, or possibly unwanted applications, like the adwares that keeps popping up on your laptops. And then also access control. Now it has blurred the boundary between work and life, because you're using the same devices for work and also for other things. And obviously BYOD, as I discussed earlier. And then cloud security. More and more people now are demanding that if they can access directly the cloud assets or applications from their remote site, what they wanted is a clear path towards the cloud and bypass the connectivity from their data center and then going to the cloud. And that can be done now with the latest solutions and technology coming out in the industry. So what are the prerequisites for teleworking, or an effective teleworking solution? As I was talking to our customers and partners, one of the key areas that they need to ensure is usability. So again, availability of that connectivity. Also, you have to look at the devices for users. I think I mentioned that earlier. Do I standardize issue the devices per employees, or allow them to use their own devices or bring their own devices? And then you have to address the key area of user and device identity. And that can be remediated by authentication or multi-factor authentication that can be implemented. I think a lot of people are familiar with that, because now when you transact with a bank, normally, and you use your credit card, or when you buy it in third-party applications like Lazada, and you use your credit card, they normally will ask for a key that you enter through a multi-factor authentication application from the banks. And then, obviously, it has to be easy to manage and easy to support remotely. That is very key, because now your help desk or your support team, they're also doing it from their respective houses or outside the network, or the corporate network. So you have to be able to manage and support these resources on a remote site. Then what are the elements of the teleworker solution? Again, I mentioned earlier, generally now we are considering 100% of the employees are roaming, but not all of them need to have the same level of access. So in Fortinet, we classify them under 3 areas. One is the general roaming. So 90% of the employees. So they need to have access from their houses or from the cafes where there's an internet or a secure area, and access corporate resources. Then you will have about 10% of this employees will be the power users or the super users. The power users are normally the technicians, those that can do remote access to desktops to support them, and the network administrators. And then you have the super users, which normally are the network admins and the key executives, because executives need to access more critical applications and resources in the organizations, and you have to have a different level of access for these users. So with that, this is my last slide. So just a brief introduction of Fortinet, who we are. We consider ourselves the #1 cybersecurity company in the world. So in terms of market valuation, we are either #1 or #2 now in the world. We have market valuation of more than $20 billion. Revenue is growing at a fast clip, and we exceeded about $2 billion since 2018. And we have more than 450,000 customers worldwide. And because of that, we pride ourselves that 1 out of 3 firewalls that are being shipped worldwide comes from Fortinet. So we are 3 to 5 times shipping more of this solution than any of any other vendors in the market. And we do invest a lot in research and development. That's one of the reasons why we have a huge number of patents. We have 700 plus patents now on security, and this enables us to support our customers better from the needs that they have now in the market. That's my presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Castañeda. That last slide answered one of the things I was going to ask you about Fortinet. But we do have one question here from a viewer. If you don't mind, I'll ask from Brilarch Amante. Should we also incorporate blockchain management to combat cyber risks?
Well, obviously, blockchain is a consideration that a lot of companies are looking at. It's not yet well adopted in a number of industries. Mostly the banks are looking at blockchain. Some retail shops, but not here in the Philippines. I would say in the more developed countries like Japan and the US, they have adopted blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, for that matter, as a form of their commerce. But obviously, if you're using blockchain, inherently they would say that's secure. But then again, the connectivity that you need to do that is also something that can be vulnerable, and you would need to be able to also cover that particular area.
All right, Ben, you have a question?
And there are particular challenges for your company doing what you do here in the Philippines because of the connectivity situation in this country. Are there particular security risks that people need to look out for here as opposed to, say, another country in Southeast Asia?
Well, obviously that remains to be a challenge because in terms of reliability of the connection, that's always a challenge. In fact, some of the challenge of doing a remote worker or teleworker setup is you have to make sure that the connectivity is there. That's one. And then the latency is acceptable, because if a remote worker is using a connection that's that keeps on going down or unreliable or jittery, chances are they get frustrated, and they will resort to something else to just get access to that information they want from their corporate offices. So for Fortinet, one of the things that we do is we can help mitigate some of that, not completely the whole challenge of connectivity, by we have solutions that allow better usage of the bandwidth that's available. Like I think I mentioned earlier, SD-WAN. The whole advantage of using an SD-WAN is it allows a company to leverage who has the best SLA or service level among the connection that they have. Because it can be a direct internet access, it can be an MPLS for all you know, or it can even be a DSL or a fiber. So depending on the service level that a user needed and what they wanted to prioritize in terms of the application, an SD-WAN can actually choose that automatically for you. So, those are the things that companies can consider when they're looking at a solution for security.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Castañeda. I know that was going to be the last question, but I just can't resist. I was wondering if you can just ask her just one more, and that is it getting more challenging for companies like yours to provide security, given that some of the cyber threats we're seeing now are not from individuals, but from actual state-sponsored activities? There's reports like North Korea and others. Is that a challenge, or not, or should we be okay?
As long as you have the right security infrastructure in place, you should be okay. But again, you can never be ready, because a lot of times like for example, a lot of these hackers or state-sponsored hacktivists, as you mentioned, they actually use also AI and machine learning. So they can actually morph their attack when they know that they're being detected. They can actually change the composition of this, and it will appear as a different, like for example, virus. So that's why a lot of companies, they do employ an integrated, which is I mentioned earlier, an integrated threat protection solution. So you have a lot more coverage in the different facets of your organization. It's just not just one firewall. So you have to have an integrated platform approach for that.
Right. I think that's another topic that we would perhaps like to reach out to you again and maybe talk to you about how we can protect consumers. But we'll do that at another time. Thank you very much, Castañeda, for your presentation, and really appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Ben, would you like to introduce our next speaker?
He is the Chief Executive Officer of Lazada Philippines, somebody I've done quite a bit of business with the last couple of months. He's got 11 years of experience in this particular business and has done a stint at Amazon US. So he certainly has been in the big leagues, and now he's back as the CEO of what I think is probably the biggest company of its kind in the country. I'll let him tell us that. Prior to this, he was the CEO of e-commerce Philippines. He's from the Ateneo de Manila and an MBA from the Stanford Graduate School of Business. I'd like to welcome Mr. Alimorong to the program. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ben. Thank you. Dante, hello as well.
Hi, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have me on this webinar. So as Ben introduced, I spent quite a bit of time in Amazon. Came back in 2011 when there was virtually no e-commerce in the Philippines. And then a year later, Lazada started. And I was with Lazada until 2013. I left, came back on the acquisition of Alibaba in 2016. And so happy to share kind of how we've been navigating through these challenges. I'm going to share my screen, okay? Just let me know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right. So talking about how Lazada has innovated, adapted amidst the challenges of COVID. I want to start by talking about the e-commerce opportunity in the region. So in Southeast Asia, the opportunity is about $153 billion in 2025. This is a Google Temasek study that has the compound annual growth rate of 10-year period to be about 39%. However, what we see at Lazada is a growth rate that's even faster than that. Okay, so this is the whole Southeast Asia. The Philippines growth rate from the study is also similar. And you can see here kind of the various pieces of the internet economy You see how e-commerce is gonna outgrow the other three, even if online media and ride had a head start, and online travel also had a head start. Of course, we know ride hailing is really challenged now with the COVID situation. From the Philippines perspective, about 71 million internet users, and 70% of those are online shoppers. What are the others? What is the other 30% doing? Facebook and YouTube. But this really points to very high affinity for e-commerce among Filipinos. For Lazada, I mentioned we're seeing very healthy growth across orders, buyers, and sellers. And you saw the 39% CAGR. You can see we're seeing much higher than that. So 2x in orders this year versus last year. Buyers, same thing. And today, about 100,000 sellers are selling at least one item a month on Lazada. We also empowered businesses, both new and existing, by earmarking 100 million pesos in funds and programs. So these are assistance we provided the sellers. It could be in the form of reimbursement for packaging, that where we cancel the order due to ECQ. Could be vouchers for services they could use on our platform, such as services to design their store, to advertise, to promote their products, things like this. We also enabled loans on Lazada. Today, we have enabled about 25 million pesos in loans. We are not the lender. We're connecting the sellers with lenders. I just want to share two examples of sellers that have really succeeded well on Lazada during this time. The one on the left is a fresh seller, meaning they're selling products they're delivering themselves. They're selling meat and frozen products. They onboarded in May, and now in July, their sales daily is 2.3x it was in May. Then we have a seller on the right side selling handcrafted footwear, local handcrafted. They onboarded 2018, and in July versus Feb, their daily sales is 4x. So you can see what's happening with MSMEs online and e-commerce. Actually, this is my last slide. And what I want to say is that despite everything we've done, we feel Lazada and e-commerce will continue to evolve in a new normal. And our approach has been to adapt by responding rapidly to changes in consumer needs, to thrive by focusing on the business continuity and growth for the ecosystem, and to lead by supporting and engaging the community. I'm going to wrap up there and open it up for questions, also providing my email address for those who may want to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Limorong. Ben, you want to kick off the questions?
Yeah, I have a really good question, I think, and something that's going to be on a lot of people's minds, both customers and sellers. I'm sure you know, the Congress is in the process of passing the digital tax bill, which is going to place some additional VAT on exactly the kind of things that people are doing through your platform. Is there any concerns about that? How are you preparing for it? Or is it something that you can just work into the flow of things already? That's my first question. And my second question is that with all the new things, I've been watching you guys this whole couple of months, and there's been a constant stream of new things rolling out. What ideas do you have for the next few months and coming into Christmas season? Are there any brand new innovations we can look forward to? So there you go.
Yeah. So for the first question. First of all, it's interesting to have a tax named after Lazada. But actually, it's not really a Lazada tax. It's more of a digital services tax. Mm-hmm. Lazada has been very cooperative with the government. We are a key resource entity for the hearings and deliberations. And I think what I'm going to say is that actually Lazada has been and continues to be tax compliant. And we are reviewing any additional any provisions in the regulation that will allow that we need to adjust to and continue to be compliant with. But I believe, as the Congressman Salcedo said, that the the digital taxation bill is nothing new. It's just plugging up certain holes, for which those holes Lazada has been compliant with. So there are probably other players there who may not have been, but Lazada has been very tax compliant. Now, on what else is out there. So obviously, it's what we want to do at Lazada is continue to empower our sellers and brands. And the best way we can do that today is by getting them on board in our platform. We're onboarding hundreds of brands every month, and thousands of sellers a month as well. And basically enabling them to have a way to access markets while the customers are home, unable to go to their physical store. This is the biggest value that we feel Lazada can bring at this time. We are obviously going to continue to ramp up our consumer experience. We want to continue to give customers a more interesting, exciting experience when they go online. That's why we expect all our other consumer engagement activities to continue to ramp up, such as our live stream, the games that we offer. We have a coins and rewards program that's happening. All of these are live today. Expect these to continue to ramp up. And then we will also continue to invest in payments and logistics because these two aspects are also critical. Digital payments being very critical during this time. And of course, with the rising demand, I told you we have 2.5x volume from February. We need to continue to basically scale the capacity of our logistics network while meeting the service levels.
I just wanted to build on what Yusek RJ Jacinto said earlier about improving the infrastructure and connectivity across the country. I was wondering what your outlook is for growth outside of Metro Manila, because I'm sure that's something that you guys are probably eager to ride onto as well, because there's the crisis everywhere, right? But not just in Metro Manila.
Yeah. So I think the way I want to answer that question is talk about kind of what it would take to build outside Metro Manila. The biggest issue, the biggest challenge we have is the logistics network. Today, once you deliver outside Metro Manila, the cost if you have a Metro Manila origin, you see what we're going to try to do first is try to build the receiving the customer base outside Metro Manila before you start to build the seller base. As you try to do that, your delivery cost starts to skyrocket as you start to deliver outside Metro Manila. And furthermore, when you go to Visayas and Mindanao. And that would be your biggest hurdle. Because you're dealing with a lot of products that are being sold below $5-10 range, right? And the average delivery cost in Metro Manila is probably $1. And so, or 50 pesos, that's the range. And so you're dealing with that being potentially 10 to 20% of the selling price. Okay. And as you go outside, it could start to be 30% of the selling price, making the product not very, not very appetizing if you're going to start to be paying that kind of cost for shipping. So the way to lower that shipping cost is to build a logistics network outside where you can source from sellers that are there.
Do you think that as more people are doing business with Lazada and others like you, do you think some of that will stick into our routines, and or will it go back? Do you think to that malling culture that we saw before the pandemic, or maybe a combination of both? What's your outlook? What does your crystal ball tell you?
Yeah, so I think there are two parts to that question. The first one is e-commerce here to stay? I would say absolutely. I don't see it going the other way. There's been a lot of time for people while home to experiment, to test. And I think that they've been pretty satisfied with the results, right? So it's not something they're going to start to turn their back on. So we're going to see this, whatever numbers the Google Temasek study showed for the growth of e-commerce, we expect that to accelerate, to be faster than any of the predictions out there. Lazada is here to continue to empower entrepreneurs, to build their business and to grow in Lazada. And today there are 100,000 MSMEs that earn a living on Lazada, and more than 1,000 of these are earning ₱1 million a month. So we're here to empower the Filipino entrepreneur.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ray Alimorong, and good luck with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you very much on behalf of the Manila Times, and see you at the next forum.
Thank you.
Mahigit sa 20,000 na ang confirmed.
ng PPE
Isa sa ilalim na ang Metro Manila sa
Wala na. Wala munang mga food court at fiesta. Meron namang lutong bahay. Wala munang window shopping. Meron namang free shipping. Wala munang happy hour. Pero may isang oras pa. Tulog pa tayo. Wala muna yung aircon at only coffee sa office. Pero andyan yung dream office mate natin. Biruin mo, wala munang quiz night, band night, samgyup night, pati videoke night. Pero meron ng time sa family night. Wala na munang pasyalan, wala na munang bakasyunan. Okay lang siguro mawala lahat ng yon. Huwag lang ito. Kasi may mga bagay na walang kapalit. May mas mahalaga ba dito? Wala. Rediscover what matters. Rediscover home.